Yo, well going everyone, Sasuke Uchiha here, and welcome back to the channel where today we'll be talking about Sasuke Uchiha, the chakraless, eyeless Rinnegan, the master of the Rinnegan, and just his possible fate going into the manga chapter 54 of the Boruto manga and beyond. Of course, yesterday we spoke at length regarding Naruto Uzumaki and his fate in the manga going forward with chapter 54 and beyond. I pretty much did a hot topic regarding Naruto possibly losing Kurama again and how that would affect the story going forward, so you can definitely check that out. But today I want to focus solely on Sasuke. Today is Sasuke's turn to be discussed, so I just want to have a discussion with you guys naturally. So of course, before we get into it, be sure to like if you're new here, definitely subscribe, share this video out, let me know your thoughts, and let's have a discussion in the comment section below or on Discord, whichever works. So let's get right into it. So funny enough, in August, the end of August to be exact, I did a video discussing Boruto's scar, right? Like the truth behind it, quote unquote. Obviously that's from the viewpoint of speculation. We had gotten chapter 49 and we were going into chapter 50 at the time. And a lot of the things I speculated on in that video have actually kind of come true. I didn't get everything right, but at least in the sense of Momoshiki appearing in this fight, which was to be expected, and having things set up for Naruto and Sasuke to take him on. Those were some points that I kind of talked on or speculated on in that video. You can definitely check it out because this is more or less a follow-up to that video, more or less. So I'll definitely leave a card up here somewhere and the thumbnail to see what the video thumbnail was like, so you can definitely check that out. But yeah, a lot of the things I discussed actually came true. But one point that I did point out in that video, which hasn't been confirmed or actually happened yet, was the possibility of Sasuke Uchiha giving Boruto his scar that we actually see him have in the flash forward. Now, we know one of the points going into this conflict with Isshiki, right, was that Boruto was scared of essentially, you know, being a danger to those around him. And we did have Sasuke making a promise to say, yo, if it comes to that, I will kill you. If necessary, I will stop you with 100% of my power, which at this point might as well be 5%. So because that's probably all he has left after being beaten on by Isshiki and losing his Rinnegan. So yeah, that's basically it. But I say to say that given that one half of that concern of, you know, Boruto has been, you know, completed, we have Momoshiki on the field now, primed to fight Boruto, primed to fight Sasuke, Naruto, and Kawaki. The only other half is Sasuke following through with his promise. Now, given how Sasuke has been, you know, handled in the Boruto manga in terms of like fight choreography and fight and like move, like jutsu utilization, it hasn't been the best, if we're being honest, right? And it kind of lowers the expectations of what he can possibly contribute to this whole situation, given his physical state and how the writer at this point, Kishimoto and Kodachi, has been Kodachi previously has handled him up to this point in terms of his showcase in the manga. The expectations are low, I know, but I think going into chapter 54, Kishimoto might do something to, you know, somewhat redeem Sasuke's character from a fighting standpoint, fight choreography standpoint, move utilization standpoint. And I actually still think he will contribute to this conflict by giving Boruto his scar at the end of the day. Because at this point, it's hard to say if we're even going to reach the point where Sasuke is going to be in a position to train Boruto. It's hard to say because the red flags are being put up everywhere. And it's hard to say if Sasuke is even going to live through all of this at the same time. Personally, I'm kind of subscribing to the idea that him and Naruto will be heavily impaired in terms of fighting ability after this is all said and done. But at the same time, he could still die. You never know. But in terms of the narrative, essentially what I'm saying is it would be a waste for Sasuke not to contribute to this current fight against Momoshiki in some shape or form, even if it's just to give Momoshiki or Borushiki his scar, because at the end of the day, that scar is going to serve as a pretty big means of emotional conflict in the story, and I would even go the extent of saying character development, maybe, or at least a reminder to Boruto and his character that, you know, things aren't as good or as easy as when the series started. It basically would align itself with the whole idea that we've been promoting since day one, that Boruto's life is going to fall into darkness, right? And of course and I did mention this in the previous video, but it is going to be a reminder that Boruto actually, a reminder that he did struggle through some internal conflict in terms of what he should do despite being a danger to those around him. So it's going to factor into the narrative, at least at that level. There could be more ways I could probably dissect it and say that, you know, this is going to affect the character in this and this way, and it's going to push their character to the next level or something along the lines of that. But all this to say is that Sasuke still needs to contribute to, in some shape or form, to the development of Boruto. So I don't think he's going to die. I actually think, well, at least not yet, but I still think Kishimoto is going to find some way for him to actually come through and be of use in this fight. Because honestly, right now, I feel with this coming fight, more than likely Kawaki is going to be the prime person fighting, and Naruto and Sasuke in their heavily injured states are just gonna be like support. So there's that. But I definitely, at least for one part of the chapters coming, I want to have a Boruto versus Sasuke match at the same time. So there's that side of the coin in terms of what to expect and speculate on Sasuke. Other than that, how is Sasuke going to actually, you know, contribute to the plot? Because more than likely, and I'll probably do a video, dedicated video for this, in terms of Boruto and probably unlocking the Jogan and probably suppressing Momoshiki. Because obviously they're going to get through this because of plot. Some way or another, they'll get through this more than likely. But things will never be the same. So let's say they get through this, right? Sasuke is heavily injured. He's lost the Rinnegan. What are his options fighting wise going forward from this? Because funny enough, in the live stream I did for chapter 53, Fibs, your boy Fibs, shout out to you, man, if you're watching this, but he basically mentioned that it would be cruel of Kishimoto if Borushiki took out the eye that allowed Sasuke to do Amaterasu and the only other eye he had left was possibly the eye just that allowed him to use like blaze release or, you know, flame control, because that would be evil. But what are Sasuke's options after this, right? And, you know, tying things in with the theme of Boruto, I actually see Sasuke and potentially Naruto, but since it's a Sasuke video, going along the route of scientific ninja weapons. Because at the end of the day, we have Amado in the village now, right? Isshiki is dead for now, it seems, and it would probably be in his best interest to actually help out Konoha. So given the collaboration of Amado and Katasuke, I can see a lot of characters incorporating a lot more scientific ninja weaponry in their, you know, their arsenal. And given that, even though Sasuke has a lot of abilities he's not been using via the Rinnegan, more than that, I feel Kishi might incorporate some scientific ninja weapons in his arsenal. I mean, it wasn't a scientific ninja weapon per se. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But even in chapter 53, when he was using that smoke screen that had the mineral dust that could block out the Byakugan, maybe we'll see the incorporation of more stuff like that in Sasuke's arsenal. Kind of like a Batman-esque kind of turn him into that kind of character, which would be wild and interesting, just to supplement him at the end of the day, especially if he's not going to have the Rinnegan. So there's that. Now, the next thing to actually talk about is said Rinnegan, said eyes. Can he get back the Rinnegan after this is said and done? Now, Izanagi is an option, but that's like giving up one eye for another, so I don't think Sasuke is going to actually go that route. Maybe Hashirama cells? Answer to everything in the universe, apparently, so who knows? Could use that to, you know, regenerate regenerate the cells, maybe. I was thinking maybe Hagoromo or the Naru Jesus palms, maybe regenerate his eye, probably get back some 6 paths chakra, get some Rinnegan. I have never really subscribed to him getting 2 Rinnegans and, you know, both eyes, yada yada, but maybe that could be a way to actually go about it. But in all honesty, Sasuke's impairment going forward is contributing to the overall idea that we're phasing out Naruto and Sasuke out of the story, and we're steadily making things, or leaving things to the current generation, the current Team 7. So that's the thing that we have to consider at the end of the day, in terms of even in Sasuke's moments of weakness and us jeering him, it is still contributing to bringing up the next generation at the same time. In the grand scheme of things, Sasuke's redemption, in terms of how fans feel about him, probably won't come until the Boruto anime and the whole team at Period gets their hands at this point, at this point in the story, until they get to, you know, this point in the story where they can really dive into the fight choreography and really expand it and really showcase what Sasuke can do. Because again, and everybody knows this, if episode 65 of the Boruto anime is anything to go by, if you compare episode 65 to its manga counterpart, episode 65 is so much better in terms of showcasing fight choreography and skill. So Sasuke's redemption, I feel, for in the eyes of his fans, in terms of, even if you're not a fan of Sasuke, I feel like you'll get the redemption that you and I need for his character from a fighting perspective in the Boruto anime when we get to these points. So yeah, more than likely. But what are your expectations for Sasuke going into chapter 54 and beyond? Do you think he will get back his Rinnegan? Or did you think, I know some person might feel it's a shadow clone, I doubt it, but possible. If he did really and truly lose Rinnegan, what are your thoughts in terms of him getting it back, right? And just, do you see him going up against Momoshiki one-on-one for at least part of chapter 54? I think so. I actually think he'll contribute and actually give Boruto his scar, just to follow up on his promise to take out Boruto. But in his state, more than likely, he won't be able to contribute substantially if he's doing this alone. But for the sake of contributing to the emotional conflict of the story, to Boruto's character going forward, because after all this is said and done, you know, more than likely Boruto is going to be an emotional mess. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, more struggling added to Boruto's character and his way of life going forward as his life descends into darkness. So Sasuke at the end of the day has a big role to play. So let me know your expectations, speculations, theories, and thoughts on Sasuke's role going forward. And again, thanks for tuning in if you made it this far. Wow, 12 minutes. So yeah, Sasuke Uchiha, rate, comment, and definitely subscribe. And I'll see you in the next Boruto discussion video where we'll be talking about Kawaki. So stay tuned. Yeah.